Hi everyone. One of the things that we're learning about in this unit is where the physical features and the regions of Georgia are, where some of the major cities are. So to help us do that, we're going to complete a map activity today. You can do that one of three ways. The first way is you can print off the outline of the state that we have in the resource folder. The second thing you could do is you could open up Google Draw and put this outline in Google Draw as an image and then draw on it to create your detailed map. Or you can go old school and do the whole thing by hand. I'm going to show what I mean right here. So I'm going to give you just a blank sheet of paper here. And I always start here in the tag corner. And I come across and I go east. That's the border between Georgia and Tennessee right here, and Georgia and North Carolina right here. Then I go to the border between Georgia and South Carolina, and that border is the Savannah River. It goes in a little southwest to start, and then it kicks back out and goes southeast until it comes down and it meets the Atlantic Ocean. It's real crackly there, and it comes down until it meets the St. Mary's River, and this is where the St. Mary's River forms part of our border with Florida. Then we go west in a nice straight line till we get to Alabama. And then I'm going to come back up here to the tag corner, and we're going to go south. It goes a little bit eastward until we get to the Chattahoochee River, and then it's going to be a little bit wavy heading down where the Chattahoochee River intersects this point with Florida and Alabama. As you can see, it's not a perfect drawing. I'm not a great artist. You may be a better artist, but you can do this if you don't have access to printing or Google Draw. I'm going to go ahead and use the outline so it's a little more realistic as you're trying to figure this out. Okay, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to identify the bodies of water. I'm going to use blue to identify those bodies of water. The first one is over here off the coast. It's the Atlantic Ocean. So I'm going to label the Atlantic Ocean here. The next one I'm going to label is the Savannah River. So I'm going to trace here this border. I'm not perfect. You may be a little better at this kind of stuff than me. Then I'm going to draw an arrow to it and put Savannah River. The next river here helps form part of that border with Florida. Draw an arrow. That's the St. Mary's. And then that last important body of water is the Chattahoochee. It starts up here in the north, curves here just above Atlanta, and then forms our border with Alabama. And that's the Chattahoochee River. Okay. So that's the first thing that I like to start with there. You can see Chattahoochee River there. Okay, after that, I like to mark off some of the other important physical features. Up in North Georgia, we have the beginning of the Appalachian Mountain Range. So I like to draw some mountains up here. Draw an arrow. And one of these mountains right here, which is the highest point in Georgia, is Brasstown Bald. Another important physical feature that you need to label is the Okefenokee Swamp. So I'm just going to do some little waves here to show the Okefenokee Swamp. and label the swamp. Okay, last really important physical feature that you learned about that we're going to put on here before we move to the regions and the cities is the fall line. The fall line starts here where we see this little indentation in the state where the Chattahoochee River dips in, and it's going to take us to about halfway up the Savannah River, and that's the fall line. Okay, now let's do the regions. The fall line actually divides our two biggest regions. This one down here at the bottom is the coastal plain that we learned about last week. And then up here we have the Piedmont. Now we need to divide out our other regions. Up here at the top, this smallest region right here is the Appalachian Plateau. Next to it, we have the Valley and Ridge, or the Ridge and Valley. You'll see it both ways. And then this last one right here that kind of does this little part right here is the Blue Ridge. Okay, so those are our 5 regions of Georgia. Now let's do our cities. Okay, the most important city is our capital, and it's right here where the river starts kind of from going south, starts going a little bit southwest, and that's Atlanta, the capital of Georgia. Then right here where the Savannah River meets the Atlantic, that's Savannah, the oldest city in Georgia. We're going to learn a lot about Savannah in our first few history units. Then we have the 3 cities along the fall line. We have Columbus, we have Macon, and we have Augusta. Okay, we have 2 more things that we need to put on here, and that is the tag corner up there where we began. I'm going to do the tag corner in pink. So we need to know that that's the intersection of Alabama, Tennessee, and Georgia. That's what the tag stands for. And then our final thing that I missed earlier were the barrier islands. The barrier islands are all of these little islands right here. I'm just gonna circle them. And those are the barrier islands. Very important to Georgia's coast, keeping it protected from storms, all of that wind erosion and water erosion. Okay, so as you can see, we have several different things that you need to know the location of. You need to be able to identify your regions, some of these major cities, these 5 major cities in Georgia, some key physical features like the Appalachian Mountains, the Okefenokee Swamp, the Barrier Islands, the Fall Line, and then the water boundaries in Georgia. You need to know where the Savannah River is, the Atlantic Ocean, the St. Mary's, and the Chattahoochee. So take some time and create your map. By creating the map yourself, it really helps you kind of lock in where things are located. This is going to be important for you to know as we continue our studies. So as we're talking about specific areas where historical events happen, you can have a mental image of where that is taking place. When you finish creating your map, go to the Thing link and quiz yourself. See how well you remember where everything is located. Happy drawing!